So certainly one of the top issues, pretty much second after security and foreign affairs in Israel, is the debate on, call it, Judaism in the public space. Now, Israel, and we discussed it also in the context of the conflict, Israel was established to be the homeland of the Jewish people. Now, this is often a difficult concept from people who come from the Western tradition, because the Western tradition has a very long developed tradition that comes from the fights between the emperors and the popes of separation of church and state. And America has this enshrined in its constitution, but this is based on decades, millennia of Western thinking of how to separate the temporal space from the religious space. When you try to bring these ideas into Israel, you often find yourself a bit lost, and as a result also prone to make misjudgments. Because what does it mean to be the homeland of the Jewish people? Judaism is a religion. That's how we know it from America. So is this a religious country? Is it a theocracy? Is it a clerical country? Is it a racist country? Because you take that notion and you say Judaism is only a religion, and that's how we know it as Americans, as Europeans, what does it mean to be the homeland of the Jewish people? What does it mean to be a non-Jew in Israel? And what I ask of people who are coming to Israel, and that's actually probably one of the most difficult things I ask, is to accept Judaism on its own terms, not to import the ideas of separation of church and state as they appear in Christian Western thought, and to understand that Judaism, maybe look at it as a diamond with multiple facets. And in different contexts, different facets are highlighted. It has the religious aspect, but also the national, the cultural, the historical, the faith aspect. And you don't have to have all of them in order to be a member of the Jewish people. So for example, I'm a very secular person. I'm not a believer. I do not follow the religious commandments of Judaism. And yet I am deeply committed to the Jewish people. This is both my hobby and my work. And I devote a lot of time to that, and I care about it, but it comes mostly from a sense of belonging, of people, of history, but not a sense of faith and daily religious conduct. And yet, on the other side, you could have Jews, for example, who, and that's on the very extreme side, but just to make a point, Jews who, for example, believe that the Jewish people should not have gone about to establish a nation because that was a rebellion against waiting for the Messiah. It's the Messiah who should have bring the Jewish people back to Israel and not a moment before that. So the fact that some Jews in the 19th century decided that they're not going to wait for the Messiah and they're going to take control into their own hands and establish a state, that is rebellion against God. So you have people, and this also comes to what we said, the Palestinians deny the facet, or some of them deny the facet of nationhood and peoplehood, and say because it's only a religion, there shouldn't be a state. So because of that, when Israel was established, and it was established in order for the Jewish people to have sovereignty, to have control after millennia, after decades, when they were at the behest of their hosts, that they would have control over their own lives, you establish a homeland for the Jewish people. And there begins the big question of what exactly does it mean in the public sphere to be the homeland of the Jewish people. So for example, the calendar, the official calendar of the state is the Jewish calendar. We go to holidays according to the Jewish calendar, which is based on the agricultural life of the early Israelites in the in the kind of first millennium before Christ. So this is the official calendar. Does it make it a religious state? Or just a cultural aspect, historical aspect of the Jewish people? Now, there are very different Jews living in Israel. some more religious, some more secular, and they all fight about the role of Judaism in the public sphere. And the public sphere means in the institutions of the state. And this is a negotiation that is still going on. It's one of the reasons we don't have a constitution, because on the day that Israel was established, the parliament was supposed to create a constitution, but one of the things they couldn't agree on was how to define the role of Judaism in this country. And as a result, this is one of the main issues that is still constantly negotiated, daily even, in different arenas, in Jerusalem, in Tel Aviv, on whether places can be open on Saturday, yes or no, and what should be the public law, and on personal affairs. So this is certainly something that is still being negotiated, and because it's still being negotiated, it's a political matter. And you have parties in Israel. Again, politics is not separated from religion, so people can form a party devoted to having more religion in the public sphere. And that's part of the ongoing political negotiations of Israel. It's certainly one of the major issues, typically very high up there after the conflict in foreign policy.